Thanks for speaking to us. You've not been working with Josh for too long. Have you guys got a good relationship so far?
Yeah, 100%. He's a good lad, and the way I work is 24/7. So for me to put my life on hold to dedicate that time to somebody, I have to get on with somebody. And obviously, we all know that he's a phenomenal fighter anyway. So it's a partnership I'm happy to be a part of.
In the short period you have worked together, would you say you've changed much?
In the what,
In
sorry?
the short period that you've been working with Josh, would you say you've changed much?
No, I've not changed. And I think it's not about changing somebody; it's about adding to somebody who's got the momentum and the accolades behind them, like Josh has.
How's his preparations looking ahead of the big fight in May?
What's that? Sorry.
How's his preparations looking ahead of his big fight in May?
Preparations are looking good. We've had some similar sessions throughout this period, over this recent period, just to see how his progress is going. And this morning we had a session, and it was there was some good progress there, so I'm happy with it.
What difficulties would you say his opponent brings this time round?
I think that Kong Song is a phenomenal fighter. I think he potentially could be the next big star out of that part of the world. I think that it's easy to underestimate somebody like him because it's hard to compare him against anybody because of the level of opponents he's boxed currently. But he's a born and bred fighter. He's had over 100 fights, Muay Thai, amateur boxing, and all the rest of it. So I don't think he'll be overawed by the occasion. I think he's a real good fighter, but I believe that Josh has got enough to do the job and do the job in good fashion.
And if he does do the job, do you imagine there's even bigger and better fights to come for Josh?
Yeah, of course. The next step for Josh is to unify that division, and I believe that stylistically Ramirez is a good fight for Josh.
Talking of big fights, one of the other fighters, Billy Joe Saunders, looks likely to face Canelo on the same night as Josh. How's that going to work for you?
Currently it's not an issue because there is no fight made. If a fight is made, we've discussed it and we have some things in place, but as it's not an issue at the minute and may not become an issue, we don't need to explain what those situations will be if that happens.
Currently Canelo would start as a big favourite. Canelo will obviously start as a big favourite of this fight, but Billy Joe's style could cause him some problems.
Yeah, the key thing in that fight is, as strong as Canelo is, he's known for his strength and power if he's looking from the outside, but the real key is his IQ. If you do something for too long or too often, he will make you pay for it because he has a fantastic boxing IQ. So for Billy Joe, it's all about being able to match or better that IQ, and part of that is my job and part of that is what Billy Joe's developed over the years, and it's just about bringing that out of him on the night, and I believe that if that happens, we'll be able to do that.
Of course, you're a man in demand now after your fantastic work with Tyson Fury.
Yeah, thank you. It was, Tyson's a dear friend of mine, and what we achieved was what people thought was the impossible at the beginning. People laughed, people thought that it wasn't possible. Mission Impossible they called it, and people thought it was a joke. But for us to be able to do what we done, then for him to go on and do what he done in the Wilder rematch, it just goes to show what type of fighter and what type of man he is.
Another big heavyweight fight is Dubois against Joyce in April. How do you see that fight unfolding?
I think it's a great fight. I think that Joyce is a great fighter. Age and experience on his side. Dubois, the best young prospect coming through. A lot of people are saying it's a fight of two halves, Dubois in the first half, Joyce in the second half. I can see where they're coming from. That could be the pattern, but just because we haven't seen Dubois do the second half of the fight doesn't mean that he can't do it, and that could be the mistake. But it's an interesting fight. And I think that I'll definitely be tuning in. And there's so many questions over the pair of them because of the lack of, not experience, but the lack of, they've not been put through those tests yet of those questions. So no one's been able to ask those questions of each other yet. we saw Joe come through the rounds and have questions asked against Jennings, but we haven't seen those same questions asked of Dubois. But we haven't seen anybody land that clean and flush on, and that hard and heavy and often on Joyce yet. So, you know, those questions will be answered on that night, and that's why it's an intriguing fight.
With all that in mind, your prediction for the fight?
I haven't got one at the minute, you know. I know Joe, really like Joe. I know his team, Sam, great lads. I'm also a fan of Dubois. I think he's a great fighter, so I'll just be a boxing fan for that one. And I look forward to the fight.
Thank you for your time.
No problem, thank you.